What is up? What is up? It's your boy Wolf Hogan of the Wolf Hogan Show podcast, the greatest podcast on earth to fall asleep to. Today we're doing the segment again called 9 Questions, where we interview creatives in the city and we just pick their brain, find out what inspires them. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Craig Derek Jones.
Hey, what's happening?
What is happening, man? Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you coming out and just speaking with me for a little bit.
It's been a while. I ain't seen you in forever, man.
Let's see. The
'Cause
first
you left, right? You took off. You left the area, and
I took off. I went to New York for a little bit. Before that, though, we'd only worked together like one time before that. Was it Writing on the Wall?
Yeah, like the film challenge or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a chance to see your style, your directing style, your filming style. It was just great, telling that story.
That was a mess, but those contests are always a mess.
What was it? 36 hour?
Yeah. All I did was just shoot it. Then they took and edited it. So
Heck yeah.
But we all had fun. Though. It was great.
We did. It was like, what was it? Like an artist. He was like
he's a delinquent.
Yeah,
I don't know what
going through something with his like baby moms or something like that.
Right, but because Bree was in that too. I've remained in contact with everyone that I worked with on that thing.
Really?
It's
that was I remember like the scene we did. It was in the house. I don't forget whose house that was. Oh, Aiden's house.
I don't know whose house it was.
And we had that argument with me, my character and Bree's character.
Yeah, that was. She's so good, man. But I'm not trying to hijack your show or nothing.
No.
It's
all good.
Talking.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am I guess what you would call a filmmaker. I do a lot. How deep you want to go? Just a quick overview of what I do, or
it's up to you.
I don't know how long I haven't seen the show. I don't know how long it is.
The last one we were here for like an hour. Time, so you can go.
And how about content wise? Am I allowed to swear, or do I need to keep it cool? Or
absolutely
can't get ghetto on your show?
You can get ghetto.
I always wanted to mess with cameras, and if you ask me, what was your dream as a kid? It was to do what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. But I didn't do that. I went and I thought only special people could do it, So I went and I got married and I had kids and I did all that stuff. But then everything was kind of drying up. So mid-40s, I went to school, LCC, to learn how to run the gear and equipment. And I, it was like, I should have been doing this my whole life, So I learned video and audio, learned how to run all kinds of cameras. I was working before I graduated. I was just, like the instructors would be like, hey, Craig, come here. Call this guy. He needs some work. Is that type of thing. I just took to it. It was like a natural. And I was older than everybody else. So at first they gave me, the ageism thing. They were like, who's this old guy? Right. But then within a few months, they were like, Craig, can you help me with my project? It's like, yes. And I'm not competitive at all. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make everybody win. Let's, Yeah. And that was like 10 years ago. Wow, 10 years ago. But I've been working in the field ever since. It's one of those people that's fortunate enough to be able to make a living creating video, and doing audio stuff as well. In voiceovers, you can hear the voice, but anything, all things media creation, I say yes, and I just do it, and now about 8 years of grinding, working part-time at a media center and then doing freelance for every production house in town. Finally, I'm back at LCC now, not a student now, though. I'm like their video director, producer for the college, because college just makes videos all the time. And there's 3 of us. And they all remember me because I was a student and I won awards for the college when I was there. They were like, yeah, you should work here, So it's, I got a pension now. It's 9 to 5.
Dude, that's wonderful.
I'm like, dude, I feel like an adult and I'm doing what I love to do. It never feels like work, even when it's hard. I'm like, nah, this is great. I love cameras, love lenses, love audio, love mics. You got some nice mics here.
Thank you.
It's, so that's been, I've just been grinding, been a single dad this whole time.
Okay.
My kids are pretty much grown. But people just know me as that guy that's always around with a camera. always working.
That's amazing. You know, it's like you were saying that, you know, ever since you were young, you've known what you wanted to do. It reminds me, like when I was younger, I was always like, oh, I want to act and I want to act and I want to act. And I didn't know what it took to act. I didn't know anything about acting. I didn't know anything about anything. When DVD special features came out, that's when I was really like, you know, super gung ho about it. My dad got me a camera, like a little stupid camcorder. And it's like, when we're young, it's like, it's always that little spark. Now, the next question is, what was it that drew you to, you know, cinematography, you know, the arts? Was it just that initial love when you were younger?
I think, honestly, and this is going to sound a little dark and dreary, but it's not. It's really not, because it's gotten me to where I'm at, okay? I know how hard it is to be successful in this business, and I have been able to eke it out locally, which is very hard to do. You know, the bigger markets, you can do a little better. But when I was young, I'm older than I look. You know, I was born in 1970.
Okay.
So I came up at a time where being biracial, there weren't that many of us. We were a new breed of people. So it was like, kids weren't mean to me, but they didn't really befriend me. I had like one or two friends throughout the years as a child, but really, I was like the kid in the wheelchair. They're like, you're different. So, you know. And their parents were tripping, though. Parents were, because they were parents from the 50s and 60s, so they were still tripping. But, and on both sides, black and white, tripping parents. They didn't like me. They didn't like seeing, I was proof that race mixing was happening. Oh, yeah. So, but it wasn't a bad childhood or anything. I just was isolated a lot. So I watched a lot of TV and a lot of movies. And my father took us to the movies every weekend because he loved movies too. And I was watching, he schooled me on the old movies and the new ones, you know, and all this stuff. And then my mother was really into, you know, romantic comedies and stuff. So we would go see these movies, and it just got ingrained into me. And I would see things cinematically. I would just hear music. I'd hear soundtracks in my head. It's all the same thing to me. And I think by the time I was, I'd say 12, 13, that's all I did was think about, I wanted to go to the movies when they came out, saw every movie that came out, you know, bought all kinds of albums because I play music too, instruments. It was like, that's all I could think about. I sucked at everything else. You know, I was an okay student, but I couldn't concentrate because I'd be in class studying. I'd be looking at the way the light was coming through the window, hitting the desk. This would be sweet with a camera. But I didn't know, it's like you said, I didn't know I could do it.
Yeah.
It was just make-believe in my head. You know, my father, nothing against, my father's great, but he was like, college prep, got to do this, got to go to college, got to get an office job. You know, he was just trying to make sure I wasn't another statistic. I should have been doing this stuff then, but I didn't know that till all these years later. I went to school because I'd always been talented with the stuff, but I didn't know how to work the gear. Yeah. So I was like, I went to school. In the first semester, they gave me a scholarship. They were like, dude, you belong here. Then my marriage started ending, and I was like, I got to quit. They were like, no, you don't. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Yeah. You know, so basically, I remember my daughter, she was like, are you really that good, or does everybody else just suck in class? Is that why you got your your awards and stuff? But it is both. Yeah, right. But yeah, that's what did it. I think it was just being so isolated and watching so many movies and TV shows. Those directors were my friends. You know, those were my connections. And it was harder it's still hard for me to connect with people, you know, but I can film the hell out of you. You know, I can set up a shot, and, you know, so I'm still a little awkward socially, but I don't regret it because, you know, I got a dream life now. So it's cool. Like, you know, for people who don't make films, or for people who aren't in front of camera, behind the camera, it's like, there is just something about creating these moments. Yeah. Just creating the moments, like with lighting, with, you know, the direction, with, you know, just setting up the shot and just creating the world. You know what I'm saying? That's what drew me so much to, you know, acting and things like that. It's like, I would watch these films and I'm like, I need to know how they did this. Right. I need to know the ins and outs of how they did it. When I actually found out when I was younger, I was like, oh shit, what? Yeah, there's a lot goes into it, but you know when you're on a good set because people just love being there. Oh, you know, even if they're not, you know, brimming with excitement or anything. There's still this calmness. There's this tuning fork that goes off. You're where you want to be.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I've seen your post, social media posts. I've seen you doing work. I'm like, dang, how do you get that?
Yeah,
that looks sweet right there. I wish I was on that set. You know,
there are certain sets, like you were saying, like the good sets from the bad sets, and it took a while, like, to understand how to maneuver different sets, and like when you first go onto a set, like it's like, oh, this is gonna be this kind of set, or it's like, oh, I'm working with these kind of people. It's either like for the most part if it's gonna be good or if it's gonna be pretty toxic. But it's like I think that is something that I respect about you too. It's like now you have the authority, you have the pull, and you make it your job, along with the technical side. You make it your job to make a welcoming environment.
Oh, yeah. Set. Just naturally, because it's like, I don't want all that drama. People never believe this. I was a horrible person. I was like a hothead and violent and just angry, and I was just a full of rage type of dude. And now I'm not. I'm the opposite of that. Okay. And a lot of it has to do with I'm just creating every day. It's just that energy goes where it needs to go.
Right.
And I've walked onto sets before where I could tell there was tension. And by the time we were done, there was no tension, just because I'm just going to bridge everybody together.
Good.
And I'm not like a social outgoing type person, but it'd be like, it's just that calm demeanor. It'd be like, and I'm so happy to be there.
Yeah.
Smiles go a long way. I didn't realize that.
Heck yeah.
A lot of communication is nonverbal, where you just are happy to be somewhere. It gets infectious, and people just, And
it's like, you always have had a calm demeanor as long as I've known you. And it's like, when you come onto a set and you see that there is hostility, or you feel there's a tension, if you do not buy into that, if you do not give into that, if you just remain calm, people have no choice but to just calm down.
Yeah, that's true. If you stay calm, people will calm down because they don't want to look stupid. But the ones who don't calm down, you got to worry about them, because you're like, oh, okay, this person just looking for a fight. Right, They're just going to find a fight. I'm human, though. I mess up sometimes. I've been testy. I was on it. I shouldn't tell this story, but I don't care. It's been so long. The statute of limitations is on. Professional statute of limitations is like 5 years. Okay. I was working on a sporting event, and I won't say sporting. It was just a live TV event for a pretty big name, network. And I was just running a camera. There was like 5 of us, I think, cameramen. And there was a person that was doing the director on those type of shows. Because there's like a big production van, and you don't go in there. You're the camera person. It's a big production van. People come in, and the director usually shows up late.
Oh, yeah.
A good director will be there early to have a camera meeting with you and talk. But the bad director, they just show up. They're going to direct the game, and they're going to go. And those people usually are mean.
Yeah.
Because they think, oh, I'm going to be a big-time director someday, so these are peons, and I'm above everybody. So they start yelling. This dude was horrible, man. He was just talking stuff to everybody. And finally, I got to the point where he was so abusive. I said, this camera too. And I can't, I would, even if I could remember his name, I wouldn't say it. I was like, and I called him by name. He's like, yes. I said, I'm really looking forward to meeting you after the game.
Oh, shit.
and they were just like, there was silence.
You're like, oh, damn.
And he's like, okay. Look forward to meeting you too. But then he chilled the rest of the game.
Oh, sorry. Shit.
But this is what I found out later, because one of the dudes that was working in the van is a dude I know. And he after, when we were, striking and, packing everything away, he was like, dude, that dude said, who is that? He said, that's that big black guy working on camera too. And he said and as soon as the game was done, he was out. He was gone. He was gone, dude. And I was like, and I'm not proud of that. It's a funny story.
Yeah, but it's like, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I didn't have to do that though. Yeah. I played the big scary black guy card, and I really shouldn't have. But, he was just, it's the wrong day.
Yeah.
So some days it's human, you'd be like, do you know what? I'm not dealing with this today.
There were probably people there who felt helpless in that.
Yeah. Because I wasn't trying to have that be my career. Yeah. I was doing that for a paycheck and because I like the people. I'm doing what I want to do. I didn't want live TV is just not something that I do it when it's a pinch. Like if I'm doing live TV, that means somebody couldn't make it.
Okay.
And the producers and directors will just call me, hey man, can you come run camera? I'll be like, yeah, as a favor, because I love those guys, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a trip, man. That was but yeah, and everybody thought it was funny because I didn't threaten the dude.
No. You said, I can't wait to meet, my fist can't wait to meet your face after this fucking game.
And I wasn't going to do nothing. And I'm a teddy bear. I ain't going to hurt nobody. But he got me mad. I mean, and it wasn't even me. He was being rude to somebody else, and I just couldn't tolerate it. But normally I can. That was a tangent. But normally I try not to do that. As funny as it is, it's better to just kill people with kindness, because like you said, they're going to usually return it after a while. You'll melt the icebergs. There are camera people I know, one in particular, she's one of my best friends. She's very prickly. You can't get close to her. But after she hated me when she first met me. Okay. But then after working with me for a couple months, she was, you know, she would hug me and say, hey, good morning, you know, because now we're buddies, man. And that was just my persistence, just being so happy to work with cameras and happy to work with her because she was so good. I just, you know, positivity works, man. Heck
yeah, man. You know, I try to do that on, you know, each project I come onto, whether it be like theater or anything in front of the camera. It's like I try to just, you know, no matter what, because like directors sort of always ask random shit of you all the time. And it's like, you know, I just try to have a yes and attitude. That's what I try to do. It's like, hey, can you, you know, swing upside down from the chandelier? Yes. And I'll
yeah, talent gets abused that way sometimes. So I'll be like, hey, they've done enough today. they don't need to hang from the chandelier.
Now, when it comes to the history of Black people in film, you know, behind the camera, and in front of the camera, we haven't really seen ourselves represented in the most positive light. How do you feel that has changed in recent time, if at all?
I have a perspective on that is a little controversial, because you're right. I mean, I grew up in 70s and 80s, and most time when you turn on TV or you look at the movies, the Black character in the movie was jive talking,
right,
and comic effect. And they, you know, and we loved it as young Black people. We just wanted to see somebody look like us on screen.
Heck yeah.
Especially mixed people. We didn't have nobody till Prince. Purple Rain came out. We were like, oh, that's our guy, you know. But even that movie, very negative. You know, that's a negative film, and it's not a good look on on the community. But you know, everyone loves it because of the music, and he was awesome, and his people were awesome. But I think quite often, because all that is true and it all is stupid, but way too often it's ignored. The good things that Black filmmakers have done over the past 100 years have been ignored. Since film really came around, that's from the late 20s, early 30s, you had Black filmmakers making movies for Black people.
Yeah.
In the 90s, there was a huge renaissance I call it a renaissance period for Black filmmakers. You had, you know, Spike Lee started it kind of, but there were others at the same time. And then you had your John Singletons, you had your Carl Franklins. I mean, there were just all these really good Black movies being made. And there was some garbage in there too. In the 70s, even the so-called Blaxploitation movies, those were made, a lot of them by Black people, and they're good movies. Like Shaft is a good movie.
It really is.
That's not a, you know, negative, dude, whatever. But that's my thing, is that we've always been doing it. And the thing that saddens me is that we don't give ourselves enough credit, because sometimes we get locked into a victim mentality and be like, oh yeah, there's never been anything. It's a, yes, we have. Dude, there's been so much good content created by Black filmmakers over the last 100 years. It's just that it was fairly, you know, starting with the 70s where white folks started paying attention.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. So movies made for Black people by Black people started being viewed by white people, which was a good thing. But then we have infighting and we start to hate on each other for the content and all that. But like, nah, these are good things. I will say that I've recently noticed kind of a step backward. I guess I don't have to be good on your show. I can say what I want. Mm-hmm. I see Coonan. A lot of cooning going on and stuff made by us too. I'm like, oh, and I'm okay with it, to a certain extent, but I'm like, that, you just, you pause a little bit. You're like,
stuff doesn't
brother,
sit right.
Really? That's, we don't, well, okay. But if, a comedy, I let it go, I guess. But when it's, supposed to be serious and a lot of movies, I say I don't want to call out people. So there's been some films that are supposed to be these like really uplifting movies. And I'll look at them, I'm like, this is pandering, man. This is us as black people pandering to white folks to make a movie that is going to move them. Because we know that there's a whole mess of guilty feeling white folks that will eat that up.
Oh yeah.
And you can make a lot of money doing that. You'll get streams galore making movies about things where, gosh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble being on a show where white folks can walk away feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
And because there was and I'm not just talking about the white savior films either, because there usually is a white savior in there somewhere. And those people do exist. I'm not knocking that. There are white saviors in the world that do good work for everyone, but they do it for everyone, not just people of color.
Yeah.
But, a lot of times, like I'm going to say I'm more drawn to the projects where I see, black saviors saving themselves.
Yes.
Because that's reality.
Yeah. I'm
not where I'm at because some white person gave me a shot. I'm where I'm at because they got out of my way.
Exactly.
They were like, because they used to, I'm sorry, 50s, 60s, 70s, they used to be in our way. They didn't want you to advance, and it wasn't all white folks, of course. It just,
but it was like a lot of
ones in power. Yeah, they just they weren't comfortable. Their time, they weren't used to being around people of color, so they just didn't act right. It
was our success was their failure.
Right, and I don't judge them harshly, or I don't look at them, I don't forgive them either. But it's like they're just of their time, and that's done. The average white folk that I run into now, they don't really care what color I am. They don't care if I'm there. As long as I'm doing the job, they're happy that I'm there. So yeah, no savior. There was no white people saving me. They got out of the way, and then they're there when you need them. You'd be like, hey man, I need an ally right now, and they'd be okay.
Right. Yeah,
what can I do for you? The ones that try to take over and make it their struggle too. I'm like, no, it's not yours, but I appreciate you being there when I need you,
That's kind of annoying. Piggybacking on a struggle for personal gain.
Yeah, because they'd be madder than you. You'd be, hey, I'm not mad about what they do. No, we need to. I was like, no, brother. No, Chadwick, calm down. It's all right.
Now, okay, like, do you agree with me when I say this? Is like, I could go the rest of my life without seeing another slave movie made.
Oh my God. I don't even watch them.
Yeah.
I don't even watch them. Those aren't made for us. They're made for white folks. I'm gonna be real.
I think the last one I saw was 12 Years a Slave. And I was like, you know what? I didn't know about this story. I know now. I never have to see it again. But it's just like, there are so many other, and it doesn't like to be like Janelle was saying this on the show last week. She was saying in order for it to be a black story, it just has to be made by a black person.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to follow these tropes that we see done to death.
And I know that 12 Years a Slave was, based on this person's memoirs, and I'm not saying that it's not important and shouldn't be made. But that's all. That's historically we can't make movies about good stuff that we've done. It has to be about us beating. Overcoming racism.
Yeah, getting the shit kicked out of us.
Yeah. And that stuff is all legit. It's all there. It's all true. But come on, man. Dude, there's a whole lot of stuff we do that ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
When I walk out the door, there are certain things I got to worry about as a person of color in America. There are things I got to worry about. But some days, I can go a month and not deal with any of that.
Right.
And you get too comfortable, and then somebody's following you around Target. Right. Like, oh, I was like, damn it, I forgot. Yeah, okay. Hi, I haven't seen you in a while. But it's like, yeah, I know what you're saying, man. Because I'm not downplaying anybody's struggle, man, because it's been real. Like, there's a movie called Something the Lord Made. I don't know what his name is now, but Mos Def was in it with Alan Rickman.
Oh, Yassine Bey.
Yeah, Yassine Bey. That's a great movie because the racism is there because it's about, but this is what I'm talking about. What you're talking about. This is a movie about he never got a doctorate, but he assisted this surgeon at this prestigious school, this black man assisting this white man. He was never able to get a degree on his own, but he pioneered a lot of the stuff that's done today as far as surgery goes, and heart surgery especially. Oh, wow. And he was just this brilliant guy, but at the time he couldn't be recognized because of his color. He wasn't accepted. These are more of the stories I would like to see. Yeah. Most people don't know about this movie though, because nobody was whipping him. Right. There was racism in the movie, but it was almost matter of fact.
It's like,
it was like that was the time. Yeah. But he, in spite of all that, he had this calm demeanor, and he was smart and intelligent, and it got him where he needed to be. I would watch 10 of those before I watch another brother get. And slave movies, they're good. Yeah. I've seen great movies that are about slaves, but I'm like, nah, show me this, something that at least is in the 20th century.
But I think, those types of movies, that type of racism isn't palatable to certain people. It's like they think that racism has to be Klansmen burning crosses or nothing. It's not the subtle taking a job away from someone, or not letting someone excel, or someone being obviously qualified for something and not being able to, move ahead. They don't like that because it hits too close to home.
And it's not something that you can, because it's not distant. Yeah. It's not, it's not something that took place 100 years ago. That's something that can happen right now. Right. So it's like, again, going back to the thing where it's like, just get out of my way. Exactly. Just let me do what I do, and it's going to be excellent, and you're going to like me being on your team. And that's, the experience of most people right now. It's just that you would never know that by listening to, it's like you said, it has to be an extreme. It's either just as bad as the 60s or it doesn't exist at all. I'm like, no, it's still here. It's it's still here. You have to deal with it like I do, but it's not what the 60s was. We have come a long way, and it's because of us, because we have decided to be better. We have decided to, right now there's a statistic that nobody likes to talk about, is that people of color, black people especially, have a larger amount. There's a larger number of us in the middle class than there's ever been, but we don't hear about that. Yeah. We hear that we can't handle voting. We can't handle getting IDs. We can't handle it. It's like, we're not stupid, and we stand up when we see something wrong. We march. I was just doing some pro bono work for, video work for this cause I believe in. And there was all kinds of people out there. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. See, I don't want to get in trouble, but I don't want to get nobody mad at your show. But
oh no, you're good, man.
It's like, you do in America, you have to be bilingual in a way.
Heck yeah.
So this is stuff I don't normally talk about because I'm like, there's white folks in the room. I don't want to make them uncomfortable.
But at the same time, it's like,
but there ain't no white people in the room right now, so I can say whatever I want.
This is a black studio.
All right, because I am half white, so I do have foot in both worlds, and I know. But in America, the bigots really ain't too good with fractions. They're like, oh, you're only half, so you don't have no.
It's like that's too much.
They see the one drop of blood that you're black. That's what it is. So but yeah, it's a line to walk, but it's not as bad as it was, but it's still bad. There's still things that, like I said, you be thinking everything's fine, and then you run into one, you're like, dang it, but I always try to tell myself, okay, that one bigot I just ran into can't negate the hundreds of people I've run into that didn't say anything like that and didn't give me a problem, didn't do anything. So it's best to establish that, like you were saying, that there is a nuance, that it's not just 100% good or 100% bad. And if we stop doing that, then we can focus in on the individuals that are doing wrong. Because it's not just, oh, they're all bad. Well, you can't fight that. That's a cop-out. You can't fight it when somebody's all bad. A whole race of people is bad. We can't do nothing about that.
And that's what they do usually. Yeah. They're like, oh, I had an experience with this, black person 25 years ago. Yeah, I never will trust them ever again. Where we're just like, you know what? We're not going to let this ignorant individual just take us off of, our course, what I mean?
Well, if you're going to be real, they can do that because there are pockets of America where you can go and never see people of color if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
There really ain't no place we can go to do that. You know, we have to be integrated. No matter what I do, I gotta deal with the majority of people in the country, you know, as a minority.
I can.
So what am I gonna do? Walk around, be mad at all of them? Nah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be nice to, and the ones that are nice to me, which are most of them, I'm gonna be good with. I'm gonna be good too. I'm gonna do things for them. I'm gonna have them do things for me. Like I said, the bad ones are out there, and because of the internet, they can all find each other now.
Oh yeah,
and form groups. You'd be like
Facebook groups. And
used
shit.
to be they'd be, you know, in other pockets of the country they couldn't talk to each other. Now they can just, oh yeah, we're strong. It's like, not really. You're still not the majority of white folks, but they feel that they are because they have this online community now. And
dude, the amount of racism I see on, you know, social media and even in the gaming community, I'm like, man, like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's a thing.
You know, there's a part of me that thinks this new generation coming up is cooked, but then I see, you know, how you have raised your kids and and the talents that they have, and like, you know, you're supporting their talents, you're giving them the tools and opportunities to really follow their dreams. And I'm like, you know what? There is hope.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. And, you know, some of my kids, well, I got 3 kids. They have views and opinions I don't necessarily agree on. And they are like 3 completely different people. So they all, you know, but I love them and they will always be, you know, I will always be their dad.
Absolutely.
That's you know, that's a weird thing that happens. This is sort of segueing, but I don't mean to, but I don't talk much, so it's a blah blah blah.
It's all good.
But I get a lot of credit for that, for me being such a good father. I've screwed up plenty of times with my kids, man, and they'll let me know. You know, they like, yeah, you remember Dad 11 years ago? Blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I'm so sorry.
Right.
You know, because I was a hothead. I used to yell a lot, and that's not good with kids, man. And they remember, and they remind me.
Yeah.
They had this saying when I finally turned a new leaf. They're like, old dad and new dad. So the new dad is awesome, but the old dad, like, yeah. But I see, I never shied away from it. I was like, no, I was wrong. I'm
Accountability.
Sorry.
I like that.
But I get a lot of accolades for being such a good dad, and sometimes I wonder, is it because is it because of my skin color that they're like, oh, we love seeing Black fathers? Because people have said that to me. I love seeing a Black father because I love my kids. Everybody knows that. If you know me on social media, you know those are my, you know, that's my life, man. But I'm like, to me, it's like, I can't imagine not being that way. You know, that just seems like the normal thing. Like, you're supposed to love your children. You're supposed to be there. I don't know.
There is something about seeing Black fathers.
Yeah.
Well, to me, maybe it's because there's just a narrative on social media about, like, you know, how Black men aren't shit when it comes to fatherhood.
Yeah.
Like that. And anything that opposes that, or when I see someone who's actually in their kid's life and stuff like that, which I see a lot of, like, more than people would think, you know, people outside of our, you know, culture would think. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. I'm part of a single dad's mentor group, and I'm surprised how many brothers I see out there. And when I say brothers, I mean men in general, all colors, raising their kids by themselves. I mean, at least my kid's mom is in their lives, you know, and she's awesome. She's wonderful. But I see dudes out here having to do it themselves, you know, all by themselves. And they rely on, you know, their grandparents and whatnot, but they single dad because the woman just deadbeat moms. That's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't before. I mean, let's be real. It was dudes abandoning their families, you know, having midlife crises, but now women are doing it too. So it's like, these poor kids, they all suffer, you know? So, and even if you got 2 good parents, divorce, it screws them up anyway, you know? So it's like, you gotta be there for the kids. And I've, over the years, I've gotten okay with it, hearing people say, well, it's great to see a Black father spending time with his kids. We need to see more of that. That used to offend me, man, because I'd be like, dude, don't be lumping my love for my children into your cause. How dare you? Because I'm Black, it's special because I'm with, but I was tripping.
But it's like now you kind of see.
Yeah, especially with all the cooning going on in mainstream media. I'm like, okay, yeah, go ahead and watch me with my children. Go ahead and watch me love my kids. I had posted a picture of me. It was me and my one of my sons and my daughter's partner. I don't know what they call each other right now, but they're involved. Mm-hmm. And he's like a surrogate son. I love that kid.
Oh, yeah.
All of us this color. And I posted like shades of beige. Normally, a picture like that would get like 150 likes, but it got like 50. And I was like, some folks was like, I don't know if I can like this because
he's like, go ahead and like it.
He put color in. I say, hey, beige, But it's like stuff like that. Like, or another thing, because I do look a lot younger than I am. But that's, black don't crack and beige don't age. That's because of the black in me. So yeah, you make those jokes and people, I think most people are okay with them, but we do live in this era where a lot of folks are hypersensitive and admittedly I was a little hypersensitive hearing, oh, you're such a good black father. I was like, no, I'm a good father. Don't call me, or they'd be like, you're so, you're just this talented person of color doing wonderful things. I was like, don't strip me just to that, but also I'm okay with that being acknowledged, but I don't want that to be, you be thinking that's why I'm here or that's why I'm a good dad.
Because you're trying to be a good black
and this is where it gets dark for me, where it's like, okay, by saying that to me, when you're saying you're such a good black filmmaker or you're a good black father, are you insinuating that most of us aren't? Because I look a little bit past the compliment. It's like, it's like, what are you really trying to say? Maybe you should just not say that to me and just say you're a good dad. No,
like when you said you were offended by it, I sort of equated to like back in the day. People don't really say it too much now, but when I was younger, people would be like, "Oh wow, you're so articulate for being a black man," and I'm like, that shit used to make me fucking furious.
Dude, ain't that the shit though, man? Dude, Jose Moore? You ever met him? He's a head of the can't believe I'm drawing a blank here. I work with this organization all the time. All of the Above Hip Hop Academy in town.
I don't believe so.
Very activist, great brother. If you met him, he's that dude. You meet him, you love him. He's a hip hop artist as well.
Oh yeah.
I've done a lot of work with him over the years. There was a creative space making or placemaking summit, and he was speaking there once. And, he spoke in front of a crowd for like an hour. Everybody loved it because he's just a good dude. He's just a good brother, solid guy, creative guy. You should have him on your show. He's great.
Heck yeah.
I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story, but I was working that event as a camera guy, and I heard some people in the artistic community, talk, because there was a bunch of artsy people there. It's like, oh, I just love him. Don't you love? He's so well spoken, so articulate. And I told him about it later. He was like, man,
mother.
Basically, he's like, oh, man, that's like, I know, but you know how to speak. You can put words together. But it's like, yeah, dude, it's like, that's not a compliment. They think it is, though. They want to tell you that. Man. But basically, but I think that's the one thing I wish that they could collectively tell each other, these people that are well-meaning, because I know they're well-meaning, but when you say that, when you compliment somebody like that, are you insinuating that other people aren't that way?
Yeah.
And that I'm an exception to the rule. And what is that rule that you have in your bias? What is that rule you have in your brain that's making you notice how well spoken I am or how talented I am in a way that maybe you wouldn't notice with a white person?
Damn. Dude, there was one like a post I saw where it was like they were talking to people who say, oh, it's like you're not like other black people, or you were such a articulate black person. And it's like, in response to that, they were saying, or maybe your perception of black people is so limited that maybe you just need to just let go of these, ideas of what you think black people should be and just look at someone for being a wonderful person.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
And I, this is the only pass I give that stuff. If they are getting their, and I gotta be careful how I say this, because black excellence is black excellence. I don't really care where it comes from. And I don't knock anybody's hustle. But if you know, white folks like that, if their main exposure to black people in general is hip hop music, hip hop artists, modern ones, they might think that you are a shining beacon on a hill because they see, you know, just acting like
just insanity, like
animals sometimes, man. Just, you know, or just being so disrespectful to women and being so just, you know, like their whole lives are just shooting people and having sex and making kids not take care of them. So it's like
that shit. You know, that
I'm not really into it anymore. You know, it's like I liked gangster rap as a young man, but it was a little different then.
Different, yeah. It was like
there was still social commentary in there. Yeah, there's not now.
No. They were, you know, like it's this is a whole nother topic for a whole different show too. It's like, you know, this is something I think about. You know, back in the day when, you know, we had Public Enemy and like NWA and stuff like that, there was that element of, you know, gang violence and things like that. But there was also a social awareness. You know, they were talking about, you know, there was a pride in being black as well. It
definitely.
wasn't just aimless debauchery. You know?
Yeah. They've lost that a little bit. I think there's some brothers out there doing it. Like, that's why I love Jose, who I mentioned earlier. He has a hip hop academy where kids come in and learn. My son did. You know, my son raps now. He does it. It's because of that.
Wow.
You know, because of that organization. Jose reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw your son was playing around with music and there's a little bit of talent there. Why don't you send him my way?" And I was like, "Okay." You know, and that's
true hip hop.
Yeah, that's and they, you know, they're very positive. They're very supportive of one another. They do shows. You know, my son has played Stoop Fest twice.
Heck yeah.
He's done other festivals. He don't even have music you can go listen to, but he's doing festivals. He's performing at Max Bar. He ain't supposed to.
That's good though. You know
he's too young to be in there. But
Max Bar did change too.
It's different now. Yeah, it's Max Bar, but it's
clean now.
It's clean. Yeah, it's still Max Bar. It's still, you know, what it is. But it was always a good place to hear people play music because, you know, but and to circle it all back around, all those things, like my oldest son, he does camera work. He's in his early 20s. He's got time to figure it all out. He's between, you know, his job that pays him a decent amount of money for a 22-year-old and then learning camera stuff. But he's worked on gigs with me. And then my youngest son, he's acted in my movies.
Oh, yeah.
And we've won money, you know. And he's into the hip hop thing. And but the reason he get to do any of this, the reason my kids get to do any of this is because I made the decision to learn how to live as a creative artist and to go to school and to finally do what I should be doing. Yeah. It's not just enhanced. It doesn't just enhance you, it enhances the people around you when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know. And
people, like, this is something that, you know, I've experienced with my own parents. I see some people doing this. It's like sometimes people don't realize the decisions they make, how much it impacts their kids. It's like the decision of you following your dream, going back to school. It really just set your kids up for, you know, they have a role model, they have access to certain opportunities, and it's wonderful. And they're going to continue. And if and when they have children, they're probably going to continue the same thing. And it's just going to be a legacy.
Hopefully, you know.
And, you know, and the same could be said, you know, for someone who does the opposite, someone who thinks about only themselves and, you know, goes and does, you know, only negative things. It will negatively impact their kids. So sometimes we just don't even realize how our decisions, you know, impact those.
Yeah, I didn't until recently when I sat down and thought about it. And like my daughter, she's got a pop-up art tent today
nice.
They got a pride thing going on in the Rio town today. That's what I'm gonna go after this.
Heck yeah.
You know, proud dad of a queer child.
Heck yeah.
You know, I don't shy away from that at all. Fight me on it. That's my baby.
Absolutely.
That's my baby.
Heck
my firstborn, my daughter, that's my baby. And yeah, she's queer and that's fine. I don't have a problem. You fight me. But yeah, it's like my kids, she's an artist and all three of my kids are artistic and they just grew up watching me do it. So it's not I didn't have anybody to pattern that. So it was magical, mystical thing to me.
Yeah.
They don't see it that way. They're like, no, you just sit down and do it.
It's very tangible.
You know, they're like, oh, dad can do it, so I can do it too. You know, it's not you know, and that's the most beautiful part of it, you know. And to circle around into the Black aspect of it, like, cause I don't want to get in trouble with people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti modern hip hop artists. I'm not anti Black people. You know, even the cooning in the movies. If you're going to do that, if you're making your money, make your money. If you got a fan base, go
get it how you live.
You know, I'm never gonna look at another Black person and say, oh, you shouldn't be making your money that way. No, dude, it's hard to make money in this industry. It's hard to make money in the business. So if you can find a niche, do it. Okay, try to be responsible, but do it. But I will say that I am drawn more toward the more positive stuff, the more, it's just the more family oriented stuff where it's, I'm not saying I need it to be sanitized or at all, because my stuff ain't, but it's, I do tend to be drawn more toward the positive stuff. Whereas when I was younger, I was drawn toward more the negative things. And so the more you're drawn towards the positive stuff and the more positive things you create, the more people respond to you, especially if you're successful in it and you start doing things that people see and they're like, oh, right on, they like that. And hopefully my kids stay in that same vein. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, they're going to do what they do. But, but
even if they don't, it's going to still be in the back of their mind. They're going to see what you have done and what you are doing.
Well, they see the transformation. They see the old me who was just self-loathing and hatred for himself. But then they see the new, and a lot of it, I hate to say it, had to do with the fact that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Okay.
I was always living for other people, trying to be what was, trying to be what I was supposed to be, whatever that is. Yeah. And then once I started creating for a living and realizing I could do that I was good enough, I always want to be saying I was lucky.
Okay.
But I'm not. I earned it.
Yeah.
But the inner part of me is still like, you're just a hobbyist who got lucky, But no, I earned this. I'm talented.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to make that connection. And that's the one thing I think I inadvertently have passed on to my children. They tend to get that way too. And I'm like, no, believe in your talent, but make sure there is talent there.
Yeah.
Don't just have a belief
delusional
where your stuff sucks and you don't get better because you don't understand that you're not that good yet, but
maybe that's a part of your transformation too. It's like, coming to the realization that it's like, you did put in the work.
Yeah.
You did make the sacrifices. You earned your spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm really confident with is, my place in all of this,
Yeah.
Like that you can have, I was talking to my friend the other day about this, because we were talking about a certain person. Most people like me. And, people in the filmmaking local community, most of us either know each other or know of each other.
Yep.
And it's not competitive. We're all very supportive of each other. There's this one person, I ain't gonna say no names because I don't do that. This person does not like me. I mean, really doesn't like me. And I didn't know it till my friend was telling me. So yeah, she don't like you, dude. I was like, really?
Damn.
So I've always been nice to her, and I like her work and all that. But one time I guess this person was saying, in a group of people about how she doesn't like my work, and that's okay because you can't please everybody. We all have a style. But she lost everybody when she starts. I guess she lost everybody when she was saying, "Yeah, he's just talentless," and they were like, "Well, no." No, that brother's won too many awards and he's done too much. You can't say that.
Like you can see the work.
You can't say that Craig is talentless, okay? You can say that you don't like his work.
Yeah.
That's legit. But you can't, nobody can say that I haven't, that my talent hasn't gotten me where I'm at,
Heck yeah.
So it's like, in a way, it hurt my feelings when I heard that, but I'm glad I heard it because then I was like, no, I'm talented. And I like that my friend was telling me, yeah, she kind of lost people when she was talking about Craig isn't talented.
Yeah.
There's filmmakers locally that their style isn't what I would, I don't really like their style, but they're talented and they're successful, man. I love these guys, even though we don't share the same artistic vision, we all support each other. And that's kind of what I like about the local community, especially, Black filmmakers. We all are Black camera people. We're all kind of like, hey, what you need? What's up? People of color. It's more than just Black. It's just, filmmakers in general, but I do tend to have connections with everyone, all races, creeds, colors, filmmaking. If you really, and you've probably seen this on sets before, it really color, race, gender, all of it goes out the window when you get a group of people that just really like what they're doing and are really about that work. All that stuff goes away, as it should.
Yeah, it becomes about the art.
Yeah, and that's what it should be. It's another language. It's like when you get, it's like you were saying earlier about creating these moments and spaces. Once you get everybody in tune with that, you're creating something that didn't exist. It's creation, and that's what the best part of it is for me. It's like, this didn't exist before we all sat down and did this.
Like one of the last projects I worked on was an independent film for someone who I had never met before. Like it was just a group of people, and like the people in the group were just like freelance people that were all hired in.
Right. Yeah.
And I came as the actor. I came off book. I came with like notes on my lines and everything. Just came prepared, and I was like, I don't know what this is going to be like. The director came. He came with his book. A cinematographer came, everybody was just on point. We didn't know each other, barely knew each other's names. But when it came time to get down to filming and everything, everybody was just on point and it flowed. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know each other from, a hole in the wall. But when, it starts with the script, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We stuck to the script. We stuck to what we were good at. And it was one of the best experiences I've had on an independent film set. And I was like, man, that's what it's about. It's about the art,
Right. Yeah. And when, that's exactly what I was saying. When you get a group of people, and you don't even have to know each other. Mm-hmm. There's been my best friend in the world, her name's Alexis Rosado. We do a lot of work together.
Oh, heck yeah.
And that's how we met. And that woman's 20 years younger than me. We don't like the same pop culture. We would not be friends. But it's an artistic connection. It's never been romantic. It's never been any of that. It's an artistic connection. And unless you're in the arts, her and I have talked about this on her podcast, you're really not going to experience something like that. Exactly. It's a connection. It's a love. It's a feeling. It's a camaraderie that you just don't get unless you are in a creative space like that. Is unique to it's unique to stage. I know you've done some stage work. Mm-hmm. But it's different from film. Yeah. But it's still, it's the same group. But there's a different, because stage, people will be like, oh, acting's acting. No, it's not.
No, it's a whole different thing.
Film and stage are different, man. They're very different. But it's like that camaraderie, creating something together. And you create something, if you're lucky, you create something that lasts and people can watch it later.
Oh, yeah.
And it lives on in people's minds. They don't realize it was a week for you, a week out of your life, but it stays with people. If you're lucky, you get in something that, that has legs and has staying power. And it'd be something you've put away a long time ago, but it comes back because if that tuning fork goes off and you really do create with these wonderful people, it comes through in the work.
It's funny, like the last play I was in, The Exonerated.
I wanted to see that. Oh, yeah, gosh, I wanted to see that.
My character is married in the play, and the young lady that plays my wife, it's like to this day, we, outside of the play, we have not had one conversation at all. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you watch us on stage as husband and wife, it's like, oh, wow, they get along great. They must really be friends. We've never said more than hi, bye after,
exactly.
rehearsal.
Exactly.
And it's like the art. We just come in, we lock in, and we just get to work.
Yeah, I had an intro to acting class when I was at LCC learning to run cameras. I just wanted to learn to work with actors. Mm-hmm. Turns out I have amazing acting instincts, but I can't memorize nothing. So it's kind of like, I'm not doing this. But I remember I had a scene, it was our final exam. I had a scene with this woman, and there was a moment where I said a line in such a way, she looked at me and she was reacting to it for real. And I was like, this is really happening. Yeah. It was strange to me. Yeah. It's like, this ain't make believe. I'm really feeling this shit.
Yeah, those are the moments
and I was like, oh, I get it when they say create moments. And the same thing after she came up to me after, she's like, dude, did you feel that? I was like, yes, I did. See? And then the best actor in the class came up to me and said, dude, he shook my hand. I was like, man, that was cold.
Heck yeah.
I was like, yeah, So now when I see that, I'm such a fan of acting now after experiencing that one time.
Yeah.
When I watch people do that, I really wanted to see Exonerated, but I was too busy. I couldn't get it done. But
that was a heavy fucking play.
I heard it was good though, man. I heard it was really good.
Okay.
I knew some of the people in it. I was like, dang, man, that looked good as hell. But like I went to go see Moonlight. They had a because then by the time my schedule cleared up, that was the only one that was still playing.
Oh yeah.
So I went to go
Moonglow.
Moonglow.
Heck yeah.
Moved me, man. I was like, oh, there's so many moments in that thing. I was like, gosh, dang it. Theater, my hat's off because there ain't no retakes.
Right.
There ain't no,
it's just what it is.
Let me start again. No. And if y'all forget line, what do you do, man? I was like, dude, how do you, I don't even know, man.
It's like going up on lines is like, I think the most important thing is just to be off book, like before you even come to the first rehearsal. But it's like, if there's something that does happen and you go up, that's where being there for your fellow actors is so much different in theater. It's like it's not just if you go up, if the person across from you goes up, everybody's got to be on the same page. Like, like if somebody forgets a prop or something like that, everybody's got to just on the fly figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, improv. Yeah, it's I never knew what go up on a line. I'd heard it before, but I never knew what it meant. So I'm listening to you right now. I've heard acting speak, but I just I respect it so much I'd stay away from it. It's like I let y'all do what you do. In the short film I made, the last one I made a few years ago, and we won so much money off that thing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But my main actor,
was it the black and white film? Or no, that was the one with your son.
It was, well, my stills were black and white. The movie isn't black and white, but people have seen the movie and think it's black and white because they've seen the stills that I posted of it. But yeah, my son was in it with a guy named Michael Hayes. He was my actor, and he was off book. He came in, so I'm a little off book, but he sat there. It was only like a 11-page script short film. He got on book like within a half hour. And I'm like, dang. I could never do that, man. Good actors, man, and then my villain in the movie, so-called villain, he was amazing as well, and he brought his energy to it, and they all stuck within my direction. But they played, and and this is the great thing about that. I want to write and direct another movie this year because I missed this so much. I wrote it with cadence in mind, but then when I see the actors playing it, they're not saying it the way that I thought of it, but it's almost like I'm watching it for the first time. I'm revisiting. They're recreating the character.
It's like you're watching a real moment.
And as long as they don't go too far away, which they never do. I mean, I can I love what you're doing. I never would have thought of it that way, but hey, this is great. And you had these two seasoned great actors working with my son, and he was holding his own. I was like, he had no training, but he just wanted to act in the movie. He was, I think, 13 then.
Heck yeah.
But I mean, it's, working with actors. I love actors. I love good acting. I'm spoiled. I'm a bit of a snob. I don't want to work with, amateur actors. I want ones who know what they're doing. That doesn't mean you have to have done
1,000 movies.
Yeah, or plays or anything, but you got to know what you're doing, right? Because I'll be like, nah, you ain't got it. Nah. And I pay my actor. I don't pay crew.
Okay.
Because us crew, we all help each other for short films like that. We just show up and work with each other. But, I do pay my actors.
If you're paying somebody, they gotta be locked the fuck in.
I gotta pay my actors because they got kind of a hard, to come in for one day and act and then go home. It's, I usually try to give them about $50 if I can. Yeah. It's only a few hours of work, but that's the best I can. I know actors need money.
Okay.
So I try to help. I try to hook them up. But, the filmmaking community is so tight knit. If someone calls me and says, hey, Craig, can you come help me work on a movie? I just go. I don't expect any money.
Heck yeah.
If I'm getting paid, I pay people. But if it's just a personal project, we just work with each other. We don't.
Heck yeah. Usually those type of projects, those probably aren't those don't last like months and months and months.
No,
like a
weekend.
Yeah.
A weekend, if that, but.
Now, speaking of directing, who are some of your favorite directors? And how has their work influenced the way you approach a project?
Yeah. I gotta say Spielberg. Yeah. Because I was a kid growing up watching Spielberg and his movies, 70s movies especially, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I didn't see Jaws till I was older because I was too scared to watch it. I was 5 years old when it came out. But that's a tight movie, man. And if I made a movie, my second short film is called Artie. And if you watch that, there's hardly any dialogue in it at all, but that's Spielberg all over that thing. The way my camera movements, I didn't notice it until I watched it, but later I was like, oh, dude, those movements. Spielberg has a lot of shots of people just thinking.
Oh yeah.
And I did a lot of that with my son. He was like 11 when we made that one, and he just killed it. His performance was great. Wow. He's 17 now, doesn't act. He's a rapper now, but that was like, so Spielberg definitely, the Coen brothers, from their, I'm going to say one particular, Raising Arizona, that movie, okay. The way they used wide angle lenses and the way they used camera movement, because, back then, not a lot of people were still, Steadicam was still kind of, people were scared of it.
Yeah.
Coen brothers and Spielberg with Jaws, all of that's like on that boat. That's Steadicam. It's like, and it's like they really, the Coen brothers really embraced it with Raising Arizona in a way I had never seen before. And people are like, why is that movie so great? It's the way it's shot.
Yeah.
And yes, the acting's great and the writing's good, but that movie, the way that movie is shot is just fantastic, man. And because it's not so much the directors, it's more the movies they make. Like Mo Better Blues, Spike Lee, that movie is lit perfectly. It hits home to me in ways that I don't like when I watch that movie about the putting art over everything else. I do that, so I need to revisit and watch that movie again and correct myself, because I'm old now. I probably should let some people into my life, but I'm all about that life, that work. But that movie definitely, the style of it, the colors, the way it looks,
the soundtrack,
the sound, yeah,
Eric
it's just
Blanchard.
Yeah, it's just such a great movie. The performances are great. I wouldn't even say it's a good story, but it's a great movie to me. I gotta be real. Purple Rain, the cinematography in that, the way it's lit, definitely has influenced, and the camera movements definitely influenced the way I have filmed concerts. I've been, I've worked on Backstage Pass and stuff like that, and they always like Backstage Pass for WKR. They would hire me as a cameraman for those shows and be like, just go get Craig shots. That's what they would tell me. Go get those Craig shots that are great. That's where it comes from. Watching Purple Rain as a kid, I mimicked those movements. It's in me. So whenever I'd see something that I liked, it would, enhance. And a lot of the old movies from the 40s, the way they were lit was just fantastic, because you got to light black and white a little bit differently than you do color.
Dude, that Twilight Zone was like more 50s and 60s, right? But it's like, when I watch old black and white stuff, it's just, well, they knew what they were doing. They were lighting for black and white. It's different than color. You'll see people that will make black and white now, but they're not lighting for black and white, so it looks bland. When you watch like a Maltese Falcon, those old movies, it's like they just knew what they were doing. It looks HD.
They knew what they were doing, man. It looks so good. The way they use highlights and the way they use like filters to bloom the highlights sometimes. Okay. I know I'm getting nerd deep into it.
Oh no, you're
but
good.
You asked the question. It's your fault, man. But yeah, it's like, so I guess I don't have favorite directors, but I have favorite movies that influence what I do. I do a lot more handheld stuff now than I ever thought I would. And I think that actually, if you do enough work, you'll start to influence yourself. It's weird. It's weird how it happens. My friend Abe, he's a really great cinematographer. We went to school together. He said, "You got a style, man." I was like, "I do not." And then he was pointing it out. It's like, "Oh shit, yeah, I do." And it's true, man. It's like you start to influence yourself in a way after a while, because if you get a shot and I love that shot, you'll recreate that in other ways in other projects, and then it gets to a point where now I'm equal parts pulling from my love of older films and equal parts pulling from stuff that I've done a million times.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it all comes together. I know that I've heard that Scorsese is like that. He'll have, he has this massive amount of shots that he's acquired from watching movies, and he'll like have them on set and be like, as reference, okay, we're going to do this from an old movie in the 30s or something. And he'll just be like, we're going to recreate this. And he'll be like,
Dude,
do you, man?
Was that Cape Fear? It felt like it was a movie from the 50s.
Yeah. He's because that dude. Yeah. I mean, there's the greats, but then there'll be like smaller films by people that you don't hear of that will still affect me. There's a movie, it's called Twin Falls, Idaho. No one has seen it. I don't even know how I saw it. It made me cry, man. It was so good. But there's just the way they shot that thing. It was just like, it was very simple and very straightforward. There wasn't a lot of camera movement, but every frame was beautiful. I was like, these look like pictures. These look like photos, but people were acting within them,
That's amazing. Like,
so,
Paul Thomas Anderson is somebody that
I forgot about him. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the next film they make is probably going to be reminiscent of like, The Master or like Be Blood. I just love those. Like he gives his characters opportunities to, play, and just the shots he sets up, so much tension.
Oh yeah, like Magnolia.
Yeah,
that whole it's like I swear it goes on for like 15 minutes, but there's just that whether it's a game show going on when he's going back and forth between it. You're just like gripping the table, man. It's just people talking. Yeah. It's so good. Like Punch Drunk Love. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Man.
That surprised me because of, Adam Sandler. I'd never seen him in like anything like that.
Oh, he's great in that movie. He did in that movie what I don't think anybody else could have done. He got robbed,
Yeah.
He got robbed by the awards that year because he was great, Do
you think like they just saw him as like a comedic actor?
Yeah.
They want to give him his...
the Oscars and all that, they're hard on comedic actors because you know what? I'm going to be real. I'll say it. It's harder to be funny than it is to be, dramatic. I mean, it's all a skill. I'm not taking away from dramatic actors, but it's hard to be funny. Like it's easier to be mad and brooding than it is to make people laugh, man.
Robin Williams, when he made the transition. Jim Carrey's, a lot of his stuff, his older years have just been so dark but I just have a feeling that that's more of who he actually is.
Yeah, true. But if you notice, anytime they nominate a comic actor, it's always when they go in and make a serious movie.
Yeah.
Like Eddie Murphy for Dreamgirls, he got nominated for that.
And that's dark as fuck.
Yeah, but I think he's done stuff in other movies that he could have been nominated for.
Yeah, but they just
like Bowfinger. Come on, man. Right. No one can do that. In the Nutty Professor, nobody could do what he did in that movie. Jim Carrey, like you said, Liar, Liar, nobody could do that.
So much physicality.
No one could do that. No one else at the time could do that, but they didn't, get nominated for anything, So it's like, I've seen stuff Steve Martin has done back in the day, just stuff you'd be like, dude, this is, but hey, whatever.
They got chops,
Yeah, you got to. But yeah, I saw Punch Drunk Love, to get back to that. That was back when Adam Sandler movies always opened up at #1. Yeah. So when I went to see it at Celebration, they had it in the biggest theater, because they thought, oh, Adam Sandler, but nobody was in there but me and my wife at the time. But, I lucked out. I got to see it on this big screen. It shot beautifully. And, with the anamorphic lenses, I was like, oh, this looks great. And it sounded good.
I love being in the theater by myself, by the way. Like,
I do too, a little bit. I go see movies, but not liking the movies I'm seeing recently.
Yeah.
You know what? I saw you, the Planet of the Apes movie. You were there.
Yeah. Oh, you saw me in the theater?
I saw you walking into I was walking out. I had just come out, but I didn't be like, hey, I had to go. I was with my son. We had to leave, but
yeah, I like to go to the movies by myself. It was like, there was a lot of people. A lot of dudes like my age, like a little older, they were just there, by themselves as well.
Right.
Because we had grown up with the Planet of the Apes, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my son's favorite, trilogy, the newer ones.
That shit was intense.
They're good. They're good. Like this movie,
right?
It's all right. It wasn't bad. It was just like,
I mean, like the visuals were amazing, but I feel like the way, like the direction they went, it's like, in my mind, I'm like, if, there were apes running the world for about 300 years, that's probably the shit they'd be on.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the movie. It didn't engage me very much. It was just there to me.
It dragged a little bit in the middle there.
Yeah, you could have cut out a lot. Yeah, and I saw that Mad Max movie the other day. And
was that good?
For a Mad Max movie, yeah. But again, I was like, if I hadn't seen it in IMAX, I probably would have been like, okay. But watching it in the IMAX was great.
Okay, but like when it comes to the entire universe of Mad Max, it just wasn't like, it didn't hit like the
right. Yeah, none of them were ever huge hits. Anyway, I don't know how they keep making them, but whatever. There's a core audience that likes them, so it was all right. It was good. For what it is.
Now, speaking of film, so like, let's see, any film in history. It could be your favorite film. It could be a film that you really aren't too familiar with, but any film in history. If you could get the script and direct the film in your style, which film would it be?
You mean a movie that's already been made?
Oh, yep.
Dang, that's hard because I don't want to, I wouldn't want to touch a movie I love.
But it's not even necessarily like remaking it. It's just, you have the opportunity to take the raw script and just, do whatever you
you just make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez, man. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Because I usually either like a movie or I don't. There ain't. Oh, you know what? And this is weird, but there's a movie. A little bit backstory. Barry Levinson is a director who I either love or I hate. Like he's made some of, like Rain Man's one of my favorite movies. Avalon, one of my favorite movies. He's just a great director, and then he makes stuff that I can't stand.
Yeah.
He made a movie called Toys with Robin Williams.
I saw that as a kid. I'm like, what the fuck?
Ick. But I know what the script was before they made it.
Oh.
And I would have liked. I think I could do better.
Okay.
It's just because it was just kind of bland the way they tried to homogenize it. It was supposed to be a really dark script, man. And there's other movies like that where, I would look at them and be like, you guys just didn't, you could tell it was watered down from what it was supposed to be. And maybe it shouldn't have been made at all. Maybe it wasn't worth making, but yeah, I think Toys would be and I don't even like that movie, but I think I would.
But with the script, you would make it into a completely different.
It would be completely different. It would be lit differently. It'd be darker. It'd be, because it's a surreal movie anyway. So I would have leaned into that in a way. They leaned into it trying to make it. It's like a dark theme movie, but they made it all light and fluffy the way they frame the actors doesn't work. With me, the way I when it comes to working with actors, I'll frame the actors to allow them to bring the energy. A lot of directors they'll make the scene look they'll make the image look really good, but they won't. But the actors are just walking in and out of it, because they're good visually. But it's like, no, I want my actors to bring the energy. So I frame my actors.
Okay.
And they're that's what I'm when it's them talking. Like if it's a movement thing or I'm tracking somebody walking, that's different.
Well,
but if it's, that's why actors like to work with me. The few short films I've made, they've seen, they see it. They're like, oh, he makes the actor look good.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to shake the camera all around and do weird stuff. I'm not trying to impose myself that way. I wrote the lines. I want my actors to bring that energy, and I want to frame you to make you look awesome when you're saying this stuff. Toys didn't do that. Toys was just there, and again, would I do it? No. But could I? I think I could do better than what they did.
It's like they were trying to do too much with set.
Just too much crap that didn't even fit, man. I was like, nah. But I'm kind of, I feel like I'm cop-outing on your question because I'm taking a bad movie.
No, I mean, it's
I should take a good movie and see what I could do with it, man. But
but it doesn't really matter like what the finished product is already. It's just like, so for instance, there's a film, one of my favorite films, Sideways, Paul Giamatti.
I've never seen that one.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Never seen that one. I've heard about it.
It was I really like, it's, I don't know. I feel like, back when I was watching it all the time, I was really like studying, these two characters, these two like pretty much polar opposite characters who are best friends, and they go up to wine country to celebrate Thomas Hayden Church's marriage. Now, that's something that I would run, like I read the original script and it's completely different than there's more improvisation, like the lines are different. So I would like to take that and cast it with, black actors and have it be from a black standpoint. Still going to wine country, still celebrating the marriage, but just a little bit different. And I feel like that's what I would do with that. That's kind of vague, but
No. I totally feel you on that. There's a movie from the 80s, early 80s called Used Cars. It's a comedy, very funny, but it does something. I'm really, I don't know if it comes through, but I'm really not into misogyny. Like in the 80s, there was stuff in movies I'd be like, man, don't treat women like that. But so there's some things in that movie I don't like because of that. But the movie is funny as hell.
Yeah.
And there was a time where I forgot about it until you were just talking about that, where I thought about back when filmmaking was a dream and I was working in a hospital. I thought it'd be great to remake that movie with modern black actors that would make it funny.
Yeah.
And because it was already great, but I had the cast in my head. And so I guess that would have been one of those where I would let me go and, because I love that movie, but I would make it and get rid of the misogynist stuff. But then I would, I saw it and it's exactly what you're saying. I saw it in my head
as what you would do with it
with these modern black actors, just to make it, I would kept the main character white, but I made everybody else black, and I had the actors in my head, that were cast. So yeah, I feel you on that.
Now, speaking of remakes, it's like, they keep remaking all these films 150 times.
Yeah.
I feel like they should take, this has probably been talked about to death, but they should take films that maybe didn't do very well or are not known at all when they first came out in like 60s, 70s, 80s.
Right.
And maybe remake those and try to do something better with them instead of remaking the greatest films.
Oh, you're going to lose. You can't, even if you do a good job, you're going to lose.
They just did another Jumanji, and I'm like, why?
Really?
They did two more Jumanjis, and I'm like, that's why. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, like West Side Story, when Spielberg made that. Because I had never seen West Side Story, the original, until probably about 10 years ago. And because I was like, well, this is stupid. Right, but then when I saw it, I was like, oh, I get it. Because I saw it on its, widescreen splendor. I was like, this movie is great. And then Spielberg remade it, and I watched it. I went to go see it, and I saw it in the IMAX, and he did a great job. But it's like, why? I don't need to see it.
Shots in the new one, I was like, I like these shots.
I liked the movie. I thought it was beautiful, but I was like, but you see it tanked because it's like nobody wants to see you remake that movie, right? So it's like, For
example, there was a film, back in the '60s called Bedazzled. It was like a comedy musical.
The devil,
and I didn't even realize that was a movie from the '60s. I had just known the one with Brendan Fraser, but it's like, okay, that one was its own thing that not many people knew about in modern day.
Right.
They made it. And it was actually its own thing, and it was funny. But they should just take some films that maybe didn't get the spotlight or the opportunity they deserved, or just come up with new and interesting.
It'd be nice to have some new stuff. You're not going to see that because the bean counters that say yes, they want brand recognition.
Yeah,
but they're such idiots. They don't understand that brand recognition is what's going to tank your movie, because people have fondness for the old
expectations,
and they're not going to like what you do. If you stray from it, they're not going to like it. If you try to do exactly the same thing, they're not going to like it. You really can't please people that have seen the earlier movie.
They don't listen to the fans. They don't listen to
No, you got to make new content. Everything's recycled, and it sucks, and I don't want to see you giving us the this is controversial, but I don't want to see you giving us, don't give me the old superheroes and just turn them black. I want to see new ones. I don't need a black Batman. I want a new black character. I'm sorry, I don't need that. I don't want your hand-me-downs. Let us make new movies with new characters.
Speaking of the superhero thing, it's like the whole fiasco. I don't know if you heard or read about what's going on with the Blade film. That shit is just a prime example. It's like, these films that Marvel's not making films that people want to see. They're just trying to check boxes and stuff like that. They were trying to make a Blade film where Blade wasn't the main character. He was like the third lead.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And I'm like,
they did that with Blade 3 and it sucked.
Right?
I know Wesley had a lot to do with that, but it's like, and Blade is a no-brainer.
We just want to see Blade killing vampires.
Blade is a no-brainer. You don't even need a deep story for that. He shows up, kills vampires,
goes home.
Just give him a badass villain,
right?
And let him be bad. I don't know if my man that they hired. I love that guy, but I don't know if he's Blade. I don't know if he's Blade to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have done a good job.
If he can learn to fight, it'd be okay. But you got to be able to fight, man. You know?
There are so many actors out there that could play Blade.
Yeah, of course.
Just give him some vampires to fight.
Dude, Blade is a no-brainer. And you don't even have to spend a whole lot of money making that movie, man. You know, Blade 2 is my shit. I love that movie.
Blade 2 was great.
I love that movie. Love that movie, man. And you know,
that was Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. I love that. He's a good.
I watched Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, the other day.
Yeah,
it's amazing, dude.
No, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, I know, right?
They wanted to make Hellboy 3 in the studio. No, we're going to reboot it.
That shit pissed me the fuck off.
That was bad. It was bad, the reboot.
Yeah.
You might have to edit this show. We're just getting into the weeds. We're talking about, you know,
honestly,
nerd talk. That's what, you know, don't have me on your show because I'm going to talk about nerd stuff.
Honestly, I mean, you know, you understand because you were saying it about yourself. It's like, I really don't talk to many people. Like, I'm just, you know, focused on, you know, auditions and just being in the work and stuff like that. So it's nice talking to someone about something that I'm passionate about as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm having fun. I thought we would be done in 10 minutes. I didn't know what you were going to ask. I didn't know nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer to just walk in blind and say whatever. But you do got to rein me in. That creative spigot never stops now that I work for a living and being creative. So it's always going. You got to say, okay, Craig, come back.
Now, what is your favorite genre of film? Not even just films that you make, just in general.
I don't have one.
Okay.
They're just, I love them all. I'm like that with music too. It's just, I love everything. Yeah, good movie. Like, I'm not a big fan of slasher movies.
Okay, yeah.
But Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween, his first one, that's just a good movie, you know? So it's like, it doesn't really matter. Or The Ring, that American remake, the first one they did, I was like, man, that scared the crap out of me. So I was like, a good movie's a good movie. Evil Dead 2, you know, that's my movie. Yeah. So it really doesn't.
Did you see the newest Evil Dead? Evil Dead Rise?
I didn't, but I heard that dude did a good job. I know he just directed an Alien movie that I want to see really bad. The new Alien movie is
Romulus? That's for him? Oh shit.
Yeah, and you know, even Ridley Scott's talking about this good movie.
The new Evil Dead was really fucking creepy.
Yeah, that's what it's just so violent. I was like, I don't know if I want to see all that, but you know, I guess I love a good comedy, and they're so hard to make. I don't see a lot of them. Mm-hmm. You know, I guess comedy, action, when you mix those two together, I really enjoy that because they were, you know, coming up in the 80s. The buddy cop movies were hilarious, like Running Scared. You ever see Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines?
I was actually thinking about that. I got that. I got the Michael McDonald track on my playlist.
Yeah, that movie, I can watch it over and over again, you know, or Lethal Weapon, you know, I can watch that.
Make them like that.
They can't. They just don't understand. Like comedies, Vacation, you know, like the original Vacation is just funny.
Yeah.
And then Christmas Vacation is just funny. When they tried to reboot Vacation a few years ago, they just made it all potty humor. It wasn't funny. I'm like, just gross out. They don't know how to write, you know, comedy the way, you know. The
thing, you know, that I find interesting, one of the last action stars that I've seen, you know, do the action movies from the 80s and 90s, it's like they weren't necessarily even comedies. It's like the delivery and the moments and the like the tension and the moments they build. You know, Die Hard.
Yeah.
He's saying just priceless one-liners.
Yeah, it's funny.
Movie.
The movie's funny, but it's awesome.
And to think, you know, there was just a camera, him, and 35 people behind him.
Right, yeah.
Delivering these lines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just the way it was edited, it was amazing. They just don't do it anymore. It's always got to be some, like, you know, shit joke and, like, you know.
Right, yeah, I know. And, you know, Die Hard, you mentioned that's brilliantly made. When you look at the editing, that's had to all be planned out.
Yeah.
You know? They really went in with that planned out meticulously, and that's why it's so good.
Heck yeah.
You know, and then the sequel, people get that crap. I love that movie too. So it's like, yeah, I guess action, I hate to say it because, you know, I'm the filmmaker. I'm supposed to be, you know, I love dramas and, you know, important films. But when you can pull off an action comedy where, like you're saying, it's an action film that's funny, you know, because it's not trying to be funny. It's just funny because it is, like, you know, Commando and stuff like that. It's just funny. But, yeah, comedy in general, it's so hard to do. I think when I see a comedy that works, I really appreciate it because I like to laugh, you know, because I'm dark and depressing and dreary on my own.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I got the darkness in me. I'm always fighting it. So it's like, give me something to make me feel good, you know. or a romantic comedy, those are when they work, they're amazing. Where you just leave a movie smiling. I love that.
Yeah.
But most of these romantic comedies now, it's just about,
bunch of bullshit.
It's adversarial almost. It's like men versus women type thing.
Yeah.
You know? And like
the
there
battle
was
of the sexes.
Yeah, there was a I don't know his name. He's a gay dude, and he's on that like Sunny show, Philadelphia. I don't know what it's called, but he wrote and directed a movie on Netflix. It's not a perfect movie, but it was about him and his boyfriend passed away, but then he found out that his boyfriend was going to leave him.
Oh,
and had another apartment with someone else, and it's very funny. It's sad, but it's very funny at the same time. And I really enjoyed. I don't know the guy's name though. He's hilarious, but he wasn't really funny in this movie. But the co-stars were. But it was just something like that. Give me something. I guess I get. You know what? I'm gonna answer the question now. Independent comedies, whether they're romantic comedies or political comedy, if an independent comedy works, I usually enjoy those more than I enjoy anything else. I love big budget action movies, but that's an independent comedy, and it can be a comedy drama, but it's something that like a Rushmore or something like that, stuff like that. When it really, some of the Jarmusch stuff, I really, when it just makes me laugh, and it can make me think too. It doesn't have to be mindless, but there's comedy's hard to pull off. I've never made one, so I haven't done it yet. I might try, but I have moments in the films I've made where the audience laughs.
Yeah, it's like,
and these are short movies. I couldn't even imagine making a
big budget
long form. That would be weird.
Like lately, I've been really drawn to like the weird, artsy, dark A24 films, like The Lighthouse.
Lighthouse is that's an interesting flick, man. Polarizes people.
Yeah, I
like it, man. And I normally don't like the square.
Yeah.
But it works in that one because it makes it feel so claustrophobic.
The Tragedy of Macbeth. Did you watch?
I didn't get to see that one. No, I wanted to see that so bad.
It's so beautiful. It was Joel, was it Ethan or Joel Coen there?
Yeah, he's one of them.
The Coen,
yeah, because his wife was playing in it. But
amazing.
I don't have Apple TV, but I wanted to see it in the theater because it was out for a week. But I didn't go. I didn't realize it was going to leave. I'm like, damn man, I want to. Denzel, come on, man.
It was, man. Like,
was he as good as I imagine he would be? And damn it,
he really was. Just like these certain dark films, it's like, and that's the complete opposite. Like the next film I'm gonna make is a very serious film, but it's not anywhere near as dark or weird as like those films. But I am drawn to those for like entertainment purposes. But yeah,
I like and the stuff I tend to not with the few short films. Well, no, the first short film I made was a very dark psychological thriller, hard R rated.
Oh wow.
That's why. I heard from the judges in that I didn't win anything, but they were like, "That's what it was. You were just right up there, but your content was just too much."
Yeah.
Then the second movie I made was a G-rated family drama, so it was just kind of like, and that one did win me money, and then the third one won me a lot of money. So it was like, I've only really made 3, but I've worked on enough of them for other people that I'm ready to make another one. But
absolutely,
but it's the one I want to make. It's a dark movie. It's like that's in me, but.
And it's like
I fight it though. I fight it. I don't want to be known for that, but it's because I can do it all. I can do whatever.
Do you think the subject matter is just too intense for the current climate, or
no? Because what I see. This is I'm gonna make some people mad here. I see people making dark content because they're gonna be dark. And I'm edgy and I'm cool and I'm making dark stuff, and everyone's gonna know that I'm just above the fray and I'm off the beaten path. I'm like, dude, you sound corny, man. Darkness, it's like you see the dude with a billion tattoos, but he really ain't dark. He's just posing
everywhere.
But then, and I'm not saying that like somebody with a lot of tats can't be dark, but then you'll see the guy ain't got no tattoos. That's
really scary. About that shit.
That's very scary to talk to.
Okay.
When you have that darkness in you because I was ruled by it as a youth.
Oh yeah.
You don't want it.
Yeah.
You want a good life. You want it to be. It's just you keep getting pulled in another direction by this evil thing in you. And now I channel that evil thing toward the art, so it works.
That's reason enough to make the film right there.
You know? So it's like I get to play, like I'm not, haven't told anyone, but I've been making I guess it's going to be about 6-song EP.
Okay.
I don't plan on letting anyone hear it, but that's where all my darkness is going right now, into that. But it's also sensual and it's playful and it's fun, because the dark side is playful and fun and sensual. And a lot of these people I see making this dark content, there's no joy in it.
There's no substance behind it at all.
It's just dark for the sake of being dark. And they think they're being edgy, and like, no, you being corny.
Yeah.
I can tell this is a person who doesn't know what darkness is.
It's not within them. Yeah.
They know darkness because they've listened to music that's dark, or they've seen movies that are dark. They don't have the real, there's also joy in it. There's also, all the emotions are there.
Heck yeah.
So that's where,
yeah, I feel, it's like, I
don't want to discourage people from doing what they do. Do you? But understand that you should inject a little bit of yourself in there and be honest. And if you're gonna, like a person like that, I would say, okay, if you want to make a dark film, then make a dark film, but have your protagonist, the main person, maybe not be a dark person, be more like you. So
like within a dark
world. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to come off as a lot more authentic than everybody's saying these dark one-liners. Right. Everybody's a nihilist. And dude, people aren't like that.
Do you know what that, like you saying that kind of reminds me of? The new Crow movie that's coming out, the remake. It's just...
They're remaking a Crow?
Yeah.
Woo! Look, I saw that side eye.
I would say don't watch the trailer, because it's just going to make you upset.
All right. Who's playing the Crow? Who's
Bill Skarsgård, which I love.
That big tall dude?
Yeah, from the It movie.
The It dude? Yeah, he's all right.
But it's just like, it's just dark for the sake of being dark, whereas the old film was a vibe. It was
and tragic, tragic.
Yeah.
Like, that ain't the movie you were supposed to see. They were supposed to shoot some more stuff. So, but he died. So it's like, they saved that movie, and it's good. I just watched that not too long ago. I watched it, and I was like, this is actually, it holds up.
And the new one is just, you can tell it's just gore it's just torture porn for the sake of being torture.
Oh, yes, I'm not into that.
Yeah. But it just doesn't feel earnest. But my hat is off to them for making it.
I know people have been trying to remake that for a long time.
It's like, man, just seeing the old one and then just seeing the trailer for the new one, it's like, this not even close. But people do what they need to do.
A testament to that, not to digress, but a testament is to the power of music in movies. That Crow theme in that original movie, that overture, that string. Oh my gosh,
got that shit on the playlist.
It gets you. It pulls you in. It draws you in. And
you're like, what does he say to the little girl? He's like, oh, it can't rain all the time, or some shit like that. I was like,
yeah. And then it comes in that cue. That's
It's like, as dark as that shit is, I mean, I don't remember seeing it when it first came out or whatever. My siblings are older than me.
And I was old enough to go see it when it came out.
And it's like, it wasn't overly dark. It didn't seem like.
It's not really. I mean, it is
just what it is.
I mean, compared to, you read the comic? Ooh.
Yeah, dude. And like the story behind the fucking comic. Ooh.
The comic is dark.
That's a topic for another podcast.
And that's a dude. When to go back to what I was saying, when you read that original Crow comic, not for the faint of heart, that's a dude who knows darkness. You see it. It's there. That's real. That's not a dude just trying to be edgy and because when you're trying to go dark, there should be like a almost like a reservation to it. Like, I'm going to show you this, but I wish I wasn't showing it to you. And that comes through in the writing. It comes through.
All he wanted was his, woman, his wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He didn't want the darkness, but,
But it's there, so you work through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now.
Oh, we ain't done with all the questions yet? We just rolling, just talking, man.
We got like 15 minutes.
Just light a fire.
Right. If you could go back in time to the day that you caught the bug, the film bug, and you could give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, it would definitely be that it's not special. You can just do it. Now as I'm older, I don't worship people. I worship the art they create. Oh, yeah. Because and I've met famous people now that I do this and I don't trip, because I'm like, I could love your work, but you're just a human being. I understand the creative process now. Not that I'm as good as them, but I understand what they do. It doesn't make you special. And that was the thing I always, as a young kid, I just didn't think I could do it. I had dreams of doing it. Dream was there. I can do it, but then I'm walking the other way. Walking towards a life of mundane jobs, working in a hospital and doing things I shouldn't be doing. Okay. I became good at what I was doing, but I was not happy.
Yeah.
So I would tell that kid, hey, man, this is so funny. I'll go real quick. There's this woman I hung around with a lot last year, not so much now, but she was really cool. She's a lawyer, so she knows how to get right through to you. She said, well, what's your bucket list? And I was like, I don't have one. I really don't, man. I kind of done what I just kind of take life as it comes. I don't really be, I wish I could, because I get to do now what I wish. But she said to me, what would your 14-year-old self want? And that's when you still have dreams and life ain't beat you up yet. So I was like, oh, she was so good. She got to me. And it would be to record an album's worth of music, play all the instruments and release it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now you can do that.
You can.
And I was like, so that's why I'm doing it right now, because of what she said. And I may release it, I may not, I don't care, but I'm doing it, and it's been great. It's been, cathartic. So that's what I would tell that kid. I'd be like, hey man, just do it. You don't need permission. Because I didn't think I was good enough to do it. Be like, hey man, you can do this. You can do, and you'd be afraid to succeed sometimes, because you'd be like, what if I fail? But what if I succeed?
Sometimes we got to get out of our own way,
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I would have told the young version of me, like, hey man, just go do it. You're good at this. Do it.
Man, amazing interview, man. This has been a real joy, a real treat for myself. It's going to be a real treat for the listeners once they, check this out.
Oh man, I was rambling, man. I'm thinking, man, I'm messing this show up.
No, you're all good, man. Dude, we're talking about what we love, man. Film, television.
It's been great, man.
Now tell everyone where they can find you on social media, any projects you're working on or anything like that.
I'm just actually I'm trying not to work right now.
Okay.
I just finished a documentary project for the Historical Society of Greater Lansing. It's an Origins project. It's going to be at the Michigan History Museum. You can watch videos and on a screen. But I'm trying to go for the rest of the summer. I just want to make music and go see comedy shows and be social and just do my 9-to-5 thing, creating video during the day and relax, So yeah, I don't really I kind of work for hire nowadays. I don't really have anything to point people towards.
Okay.
YouTube, even, all I do is just put examples of my work on there. So when someone asks me,
then you can just,
I say, yeah, I did this, right there. I mean, if they want to see my work, they could go to look up Craig Derrick Jones on YouTube, and I'm there. You just Google my name, Craig. You got to put the Derrick in it. Craig Derrick Jones. You're going to see a couple pages of me doing what I do. You'll see TV stuff. You'll see movie stuff. You'll see music stuff. You'll see whatever, and it's all fun. I keep the social media stuff kind of private because I'm not a brand.
Yeah.
I'm a work for hire. I show up and shoot, or I'll do voiceovers. You've heard my voice. If you've been in Lansing, you've heard my voice on the radio. Yeah. So, heard me speaking. I did do a documentary for the Historical Society. They brought me a bunch of footage they needed me to make a movie out of it. And it was a feature-length doc. It's showing around. It's 496 project. Pave the Way.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's a very crudely made piece. I pieced it together best I can, but it's being used in colleges and high schools now. Fantastic. Kids are writing papers on it. It's about the destruction of the black neighborhood when 496 came through Lansing. Well, they went and interviewed people that grew up there. And then they gave me all the footage and a script, and I had to make it into a movie. I did the best I could.
And that is wild, dude.
It's very low, no budget, but it's gotten rave reviews. And people love it. I don't understand it, but they really like it. Man. I've been on countless panels. Okay. It's been shown around town. It's on YouTube. It's called They Even Took the Dirt. It's a very poorly made movie, but it's really good. Because they just didn't know what they were doing, and they brought it to me to put it together.
And you turned it into the documentary.
Yeah, that it is. And it's an hour long. It's historical, but you really get to see the people that lived in that neighborhood. There's a joy and exuberance in there when they talk about that neighborhood. And I was like, this movie ain't going to be, I don't want to show this people. Then I saw it in a theater packed with the people who lived there.
And then you saw their...
And I heard them clapping and laughing and crying and hugging me afterwards. I was like, okay, this ain't about me.
Yeah.
This is about them. And everyone who sees it really seems to like it. So,
Absolutely.
It's crude. You know, it's like an old 90s era, you know, a low budget doc. So I edited that way. I made it look like an old, you know, 90s era, early 90s PBS documentary or something. But I'm proud of that because it's not my project, but it has legs.
Absolutely.
You know, I still get calls about it. So, and like I said, did that 2 years ago.
Okay.
But it still keeps coming up. You know, so you do something good, people, you know, people like it. But yeah, that's if you want to see my work, you can find me. Just type my name, Craig Derrick Jones. Type it into into Google, and you'll find me.
Heck yeah!
You know.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for listening or watching 9 Questions with Wolf Hogan. Please watch. We have 3 or 4 other episodes of 9 Questions and many more to come. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right. Peace out.